Okay, let me get out of the way, okay?
We are live today with the Redwood Gigantia. I am Tyler Stott. Besides me, I have
Cody Abney,
Ryan Harris,
and Erik Rico.
We're just going to take some time today to break down the 2024 NFL Draft, which went down last week. Started on Tuesday, ended on Sunday. So we're just gonna each kind of go through the first round and kind of give our hits or our take on the hits and what we think about all of them. So.
With the first pick of the NFL draft, it was the Chicago Bears, and they selected Caleb Williams. I feel like this was a very, very solid pick for them. He's being put into a very good position with Keenan Allen as his wide receiver one, DJ Moore. It's a very good pick. I gave it an A. And the second pick was to the Washington Commanders, and that was Jaden Daniels. And that's a B to me because I feel like Drake May is the more of like a QB than Jaden Daniels. But Jaden Daniels could still do a lot. He's still a great player. I just like Drake May a lot more than Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, I think Jaden Daniels brings a different aspect to his game. I mean, he has that running ability that you don't see a lot in players.
I think he fits more in the Commander scheme than he would like the Patriots.
Yeah, with 15 today as the OC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that leads to Drake May falling to the Patriots at pick number 3. I feel like this is a very good offense for him to start his career in. I feel like he will exceed, and I feel like he's just going to have a great career, and therefore it's an A.
Yeah, I gave it a higher grade than I gave Jaden Daniels. I gave Jaden Daniels an A-, and then I gave Drake May an A.
I think Drake May. I mean, he's gonna come in there. He looks like he's gonna be the best pro guy. I mean, with his arm strength, his athleticism, and everything that he's got on the table for the Patriots.
Yeah.
I think that Drake May, coming from a Patriots fan perspective, I think that Drake May is the most talented quarterback outside of Taylor that this class has to offer. But I just think with the current state of New England, it might not be the best situation for him.
Yeah.
Don't really have a stable offensive coordinator like we did with Josh McDaniels, and we don't really know if we're going to have a stable head coach. So I'll just the hit just based on Drake May, the prospect, I'll give it an A, but I'll give it a V+ to V-, just based on we don't know the situation.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think he's in a better situation than probably like Bryce Young was.
Yeah.
Because Bryce Young wasn't put in a good situation, but people were saying it was a good pick, which I think it'll be a good pick in like the future. Like give it like 2 years, maybe even this year. But maybe if Drake May doesn't even do that good this year, he'll probably have a good year next year.
I feel like he'll definitely get the job done. It's just a matter of who's going to be catching his passes and if he'll have that protection around him.
Yeah. Who do they have at receiver right now? I know they have Bourne.
Juju Smith.
We drafted the receivers on Washington.
Yeah, Jalen Polk.
They got Jalen Polk in the second. I didn't hate that for them.
Hunter Henry, I think.
Yeah.
So he's got guys that have been in the league, but
that division is just so tough.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough to.
All right. Here.
And then with the 4th pick, it was the Arizona Cardinals, and they picked up wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr. from the Ohio State. And this pick is arguably one of the best picks in the first round because he's going to Kyler Murray, who could throw the ball deep, and Marvin Harrison, he's a in my opinion, he's a deep threat, and he could really just get up there. And I have him as a comparison to A.J. Green.
Yeah. I think Harrison was the first A+ I gave because, second besides Caleb. But I gave it an A+ because there was no one else that could have taken that would have been considered a good pick. And to get Harrison on the Cardinals team, because I think this is Kyler Murray's make or break year.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, he did win Offensive Rookie of the Year in his rookie year, but he hasn't really proved a lot since then. He had a good season when he came back, but he had limited weapons. So adding Marvin Harrison, especially after getting rid of Hollywood, and then Trey McBride's already good. And then, that's good.
I think, I'll go. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to come in right away. I mean, this guy's a weapon. If you look at him, I mean, obviously he has the family tree with Marvin Harrison. You expect a lot from him right away. I could see, a 1,300-yard receiving year right away.
Yeah.
I think the Marvin Harrison is the clearest slam dunk to hit. I think his potential to be a bust is the closest to zero out of all of these guys. However, and we're going to touch on this as we get further into the podcast, but he is my number 2 receiver in this class. We'll talk about that actually.
And with the 5th pick of the NFL draft, the Los Angeles Chargers selected Joe Alt, left tackle from Notre Dame. And I gave that a B+ just because you left Malik Neighbors on the board, Rome Odunze. But you need to win games by protecting your quarterback. And I feel like that it was the right pick, picking him up at number 5.
I think earlier, like, in the first round, I thought it wasn't that good of a pick, but as soon as when the Chargers drafted Ladd McConkey, this became a much better pick because now the Chargers have a weapon. They got a weapon in Ladd McConkey. The Quentin Johnston's going to be in his 2nd year, which I think he'll have a much better year than he did before. And then they have Joshua Palmer, who's already really good as well. So I think adding Joe Alt to the offensive line because it was not good last year, given the injuries and all that. So Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater, that's going to be a really good offensive line duo.
I think Joe Alt, he's going to come plug and play right tackle right away. He's going to, when you got those edges secured for Herbert, he's got time to sit in that pocket, and I could see a big year for Herbert this year.
Yeah, obviously as a fan, it's always, it's not necessarily a bad thing either. It's usually a good thing, but it can be tough when you want another playmaker on the offense and your team goes offensive lineman instead of wide receiver. But I do think this was a good pick, especially with McConkey, getting McConkey from Georgia. I don't know that Ladd is a number 1 receiver, but he's a guy that you can throw to and make things happen, kind of maybe like a Julian Edelman in some ways.
Exactly.
So I like the pick. Joe Alt, probably the best available guy right there. I like the Chargers taking it.
And you kind of got to look into the future. Like, the Chargers got a guy that will be there for the next 10 to 15 years playing nothing but Pro Bowl football.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be a great pick in the time that Justin Herbert will spend his time with the Chargers.
Yeah,
I agree.
All right. Tyler, this is 6 through 11.
So with the 6th pick, the Giants, with the 6th pick, the Giants took, they took Malik Neighbors out of LSU. To me, Malik Neighbors is, in terms of from a personal perspective, he is my number 1 receiver of this class. I just think kind of your typical LSU physical receiver in a way. He has speed. I think the Giants, they've been a little passive when it comes to quarterbacks in recent drafts. So we'll see how this fares for them. I don't know how I feel about the Giants sticking with Daniel Jones 1 more year. It just seems like the definition of insanity, trying something over and over again. Trying to see if it's going to work. We'll see how Neighbors fares in year 1.
Yeah, I think this is a good pick, but one thing I noticed, because I don't think Malik Neighbors wanted to go to the Giants at all.
Yeah.
Like, I think that was probably the last team he wanted to go to, because you can tell he already doesn't like it there. And from going to Jaden Daniels as your quarterback to just Daniel Jones, I think you'll have like a decrease in stats. So, and like yards and all that.
Yeah, I think Malik Neighbors is going to be a weapon. This guy, his route runnings look great coming out of college. Playmaking after the catch. Everything you ask for in a receiver that you want, catching the ball 10 to 15 yards down the field. So,
yeah.
If Daniel Jones doesn't do anything this year, then I don't know what excuses you could come up with for him.
Yeah.
And what I think about Malik Neighbors, I just think of a very physical receiver that isn't afraid to go deep. And I feel like for him to be satisfied with going to New York, Daniel Jones needs to actually throw the ball and he actually needs to get comfortable in the pocket and be comfortable with his offensive line because after he got drafted, there's been videos circulating of Malik Neighbors seeming like a little disgusted to be in New York instead of like LA where he could have gone, but we'll see how that goes out.
So with the 7th pick, we have the Titans taking J.C. Layton out of Alabama. For me, it's the Titans are one of those teams that they're in no man's land a little bit. They kind of need a little bit of everything. So getting the offensive lineman to protect the Will Levis, it's one of those things I don't really know how I feel about it, but you gotta get Levis for protection, and I do think he has a chance to be a solid quarterback there. So I'll take the Titans getting protection for J.C. Layton. So I'll take the Titans getting J.C. Layton to protect Will Levis. I'll give that a B-, so me personally.
I have it as a B. I don't think it's necessarily a bad pick, but I think they could have taken like so many other players. Titans had a huge free agency. I think they got Calvin Ridley, L'Jarius Sneed in a trade, and then so they have a good offense already with Ridley, Hopkins, Okonkwo, the young tight end, and Tyjae Spears, the rookie, or not the sophomore. Yeah, I think Latham as extra protection is going to be good, especially since they drafted Skoronski last year. So it's going to like help their offensive line, help Will Levis, who I do believe in.
Yeah, I think J.C. Latham. It's the guy you had to go with. I mean, you wanted Joe Alt, but Latham's there. He's a solid player. I mean, I'd give it a B-, but it's not anything eye-opening for me.
Yeah, I like J.C. Latham, but you passed up on Fulaga, Fatanu. You passed up on a lot of great offensive linemen, but it really just comes down to who do you like more and who do you feel like would fit in your scheme. I feel like the people in their front office thought that Latham would fit perfectly in their scheme. I feel like it was the right option there, and Latham was a great pick for them.
And now we're on to number 8. So with the 8th pick, are we looking at the Falcons?
Yeah.
With the 8th pick? Yeah, just wanted to make sure. The Falcons took Michael Penix Jr. A pick that has been taking a lot of controversy around the internet and on YouTube and any media outlets around the NFL. So let's just look at it. I mean, the Falcons got Kirk Cousins, signed him in the offseason to I think the base salary $77 million deal. But the reality is, for his entire career, Kirk Cousins has been laid out to be average. An average level quarterback. Now he had a good year last year when he was playing. He certainly had some good years, but he has been average for the majority of the year. Coming off of an ACL injury, which I believe he's coming off of, you never really know. So if you are, all of these hits are based on scouting. What did your scouting department like? And if the Falcons genuinely liked Michael Penix Jr., I mean, you gotta reach for quarterbacks and try to develop them. So I'll just hit a V flash depending on how it pans out.
Yeah, I'm not taking away anything from Penix. He's an excellent player, and I want to see him succeed. But he's probably not even going to get to play for like 2-3 years, maybe. So, and by the time he'll already be like 28, 29. So, I don't think this is a good pick for the Falcons. But I think for pretty much any other team after, it would have been an amazing pick for them.
I think when you get a guy like Penix, he's 24, injury history. You want to, I mean, you want this guy. You want a guy on their rookie contract. That's how you win Super Bowls. That's how you win that, because you can stack a roster around them and you have a young quarterback. But when you have a guy that's going to be sitting on the bench for 2 years behind another guy that's getting paid, when you could have pushed right now for something in the NFC with getting a defensive guy or something like that, I just can't look at this pick and even say, even if it pans out, it's maybe a C for me. I got it at an F. I mean, it just I not the player. I don't hate the player. I think he was like a mid first round guy.
Yeah.
But when you take him to that team, it just I didn't like it.
Yeah. And then going off what you're saying, he's gonna be sitting on the bench for a couple of years. A lot of controversy also happened when the Packers drafted Jordan Love, and people were like, "Why are we drafting this guy? He's gonna be sitting on the bench," and he's now enough to be a very, very solid quarterback. I feel like that could be the same situation as Michael Penix, but you just signed another quarterback, Kirk Cousins, who might be there for another 6 years to like a very, very large contract, but it might not work out. So therefore, it's a D. But the player is great, though. Don't get me wrong. It's just a bad
I think
situation.
one more thing with that is when you look at it, I love that Harris as well as the Packers situation. But there's a very good chance it pans out like that with Michael Penix. Situationally, I do understand it's not a great fit. But I just think the Falcons have so many options. It's hard to kind of look at that guy if you love that guy in Michael Penix. Now it's number 9. The Bears taking Lola Dunjay. I was looking at the Bears, just like the roster and the guys that they have. That defense is always usually pretty strong. They have DJ Moore at receiver. They have Lola Dunjay now, and they got Keenan Allen too. So
DeAndre Swift.
So offensively, if Taylor doesn't succeed, I mean, you're going to see if you're calling him rust after halfway into year 1 if he doesn't succeed, because this offense is stacked.
Yeah.
And I just think the Bears, for the first time really ever, they're putting a quarterback in a position to succeed straight away, and I love to see that from Chicago.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't get a situation for a quarterback to be any much better than this. I mean, you're giving him just a great wide receivers. Rome Odunze, he's arguably one of the top 2 wide receivers, depending on who you like more, Malik or Rome. And then you also have Keenan Allen. He's gonna be mentored by Keenan Allen, who's a veteran who's been in the league for 10 or 11 years or so. He's going to be a very, very great wide receiver in time to come.
Yeah, I love this pick. I mean, you get a guy like Rome Odunze who's very similar to Keenan Allen. I think he learns from him. Keenan Allen's out next year. He's getting. I mean, he's on the end of his career, so I think he'll sign with a different team. But you got Rome Odunze, who's gonna. I think he's gonna come in this year. He'll probably get around 750, 800 yards. Because he's not gonna be the main guy there. But next year, I could see a breakout year. Usually, or in 2 years, I could see a breakout year with him and Caleb.
So now we go to the. Is it the 10th hit?
Yep.
Yeah, so with the Vikings selecting J.J. McCarthy. Again, J.J. gives me a lot of ties to Zach Wilson a few years ago, just kind of not coming out of nowhere because he was on the national championship team, but coming out of nowhere from a prospect perspective. You saw, like, before the national championship in college football playoffs, you saw some boards having him as a second-round guy, late first round. You saw that the draft board. I just think that had to do with a lot of teams seeing him, and a lot of teams maybe liking what they see, knowing they need a quarterback. Again, you could say it's a little bit of a reach. That again, the Vikings desperately need a quarterback, and it was really comes down to Vonich or JJ, and they chose JJ. So I think his ceiling is Alex Smith, and I would say Alex Smith is more of a V plus to all the way from a C plus quarterback. So I'll do this grade of V minus. I think. We'll have to see how it pans out.
Yeah, I think when you get a guy like J.J. McCarthy, you're gonna. I had a comp to Brock Purdy. I think he's a guy that'll go out there and win ball games for your team. Sort of athletic QB who has a good arm. pretty accurate. Not too accurate at Michigan, honestly.
Yeah.
You wanted to see more from him, but I think you draft him because you need to get Justin Jefferson back. You need to get a guy that can throw there to him. And it was the pick that had to happen.
Yeah, I agree. And so with the number 11 pick, I believe the Vikings traded with the Jets. So the Jets took Olu Fashanu, the tackle out of Penn State. A lot of people were hating on this pick. I'm not. I think it's a really good pick by the Jets. It's exactly what they needed, especially with Mekhi Becton leaving in free agency. It gives Rodgers protection. Rodgers is good. He already has weapons, and they thought they were gonna go Brock Bowers here. It was either him or Olu, and I like Olu here. Either pick was good, probably.
And then, do you want to go 12th pick here?
Yeah, Broncos took quarterback Bo Nix. Personally, I like Bo Nix, but I don't think he's a first-round quarterback. I think the Broncos really reached here. They probably could have got him in the second if they just waited. But they're buying in on him, and we're just going to see how that plays out.
I had a comp to Derek Carr for him.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, that's valid. And I kind of like Bo Nix. I mean, he's a very physical player. He likes to sling that pigskin around. I mean, he's gonna be great in the NFL.
All right, do you guys want to do two more before we move on?
Yeah.
All right, Raiders take. This is, as a Raider fan, I like how they took Brock Bowers, tight end out of Georgia. People were saying, oh, we didn't need him. It doesn't matter. Like, he's the best player available, and he's still gonna be really good for us. He can line up as a receiver if he needs to. And I think him and Michael Mayer would be a really good duo.
I think you can think of him as Hunter Renfrow, and a physical Hunter Renfrow who can also break tackles after the catch, and he can line up in line if we need him as a blocker. He's an okay blocker, but really you're looking for that yards after catch. I mean, this guy is guaranteed to break a tackle pretty much after every catch.
And he was a better prospect than Kyle Pitts was, so I think he's going to end up being really good for the Raiders. So, all right. Saints took Tyrese Fuaga with the 14th overall pick, tackle out of Oregon State. I think this is Fuaga is probably my favorite player, my favorite lineman from the draft. I really like him because he's really underrated, and I think he's going to be really good for the Saints in getting protection for Derek Carr.
Okay, and then after that, a couple of the picks I had that were my favorites in the first. Byron Murphy to the Seahawks. I thought that was a great pick. Getting him off the board at 16. I could have seen him going as high as 10 or 8 even. Then I liked the Dallas Turner up at 17 to the Vikings. I think that was a good trade up for them. And, I mean, he could have won at 8 even too. Another one of my favorite picks, Quinyon Mitchell to the Eagles. He could have went – I liked him going to the Raiders at 13, and he went at 22 to the Eagles. Brian Thomas to the Jags. They needed a weapon. I didn't hate that at 23. Then you got Terran Arnold to the Lions at 24. I thought that was a great pick. You're getting a guy that can
very good pick.
That can play right away and plug, like you can plug him in and he'll be a good DB right away. I think. A couple other picks I had, Xavier Worthy to the Chiefs. I think it's going to be a great fit in the system, and you basically get your Tyreek Hill type of guy. You get your guy that can stretch the field. And yeah, he can do that for you. And then at 30, I like Nate Wiggins to the Ravens. I love that pick. I think his potential is sky high. I think I could see him being like a Sauce Gardner type of player if he pans out the way he should.
Yeah.
And then you got at 31 for your 49ers fans, you got Ricky Pearsall going at 31, wide receiver out of Florida. I don't hate the pick, but I think. Yeah, I think it was a reach. I think he was a mid-second round guy. I would have taken Adonai Mitchell here, but supposedly he didn't do well in interviews. But I don't know. You comment on the 49ers pick, Stark.
Yeah. So with Ricky Pearsall, I don't really have it as a stagelet hit or like a reach. But I do think that it means that you won't see Brandon Ayuk and Devo Samuel on the same team next year. So I think
Yeah.
it's an important hit in that sense that I liked it. It is, I think they wanted a receiver. It's clear they're going to get rid of one of their guys, and I think Hirshaw is going to be a fun guy to watch in San Francisco.
And then I'll just go. We'll each go around one player who we liked from outside the first round. I mean, my player is going to be A.D. Mitchell, wide receiver out of Texas, going to the Colts in the middle of the second round.
He probably shouldn't have fell that far.
Yeah, I think his potential is sky high. I mean, this guy ran a 4.33 at 6'2", 205. So when you look at a guy like that, this guy can be one of the best physical receivers in the league while burning corners and doing that. So I think that's one of the better picks.
I like. Oh, you want to go?
Here, you just,
All right. I liked. Here, I'm gonna say two. I like Kalen Bullock, safety from USC going to the Texans. I think that's going to be a steal for them. And then I like the Panthers getting Jatavion Sanders in the fourth round. I think he's going to end up being a really good tight end. I think he's probably fell because he wasn't as good of a prospect as Brock Bowers was, but I still think he was really good. So I think he's going to be really good, especially for the Panthers, getting Bryce Young, a tight end that he can throw to. So.
Well, one pick that I really liked was Anis Rackstraw from Missouri. He's a corner. He went to Detroit in the third round, I believe, and he's arguably maybe one of he should have gone in the second round, but a lot of great players fell in this draft. He could read plays. He plays the ball. He reads routes. He matches routes with the wide receivers he's guarding. He's very aggressive. This is a very, very, very good pick. He will do great things in the NFL. Just watch.
The one hit that I liked coming out of, I believe, the third or fourth round. I liked Spencer Rattler from Oklahoma
fifth
and
round,
South
actually.
Carolina.
I think it was the fifth round.
To the Saints.
Yeah. I liked Rattler to the Saints. He's played in two decent systems in college at Oklahoma and South Carolina, and I think if the Saints can develop him right, he can kind of be like a Mahomes style sort of that.
Yeah. I love that pick for the Saints. I mean, I thought he could have went even late second if the team fit out right, but I mean, I love that pick for them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really good. All right.
I think that's all we had for you guys today. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good stuff, boys.
All right.
You guys got to do this next year when I'm done.
Yeah.